I'm joined now live by Itay Raviv. His cousin Keren Munder was released, as well as her son, Ohad Munder, and her mother, Ruthi Munder. His uncle, Abraham Munder, is still in Gaza, and he did lose his cousin on October the 7th. And Itay, I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope that you're able to heal from that time. What is your number one message to the Prime Minister right now?
I think we should just listen. Listen to the brave women that spoke yesterday that you just showed. Any deal should be done now. We don't have the time. We need to make a deal as soon as possible. The reports that are another 30 hostages that have been killed during their time in captivity. It just shows us again and again that we don't have the time and we don't have the privilege to keep on waiting and to keep on saying things to the press and not actually doing stuff to release the hostages, because this is the feeling that we get from the Prime Minister. We feel that he's not doing enough to release the hostages, and we feel like he's starting to get tension with the families of the hostages and to get other civilians against us. And the message is very clear: make a deal and release the hostages immediately.
But Itay, there are some who would say that the deal that anybody would make, well, let's go back a step, because the deal that Hamas counter-offered, if it's the right way to describe it, is that they would release the hostages in stages if Israel just pulled out and everything went back to normal and they remained in power. And that, a lot of people here in Israel would say that that would be a problem with our security in this country. What would you say to those who understand your plight, understand your pain, but understand the larger context?
Yeah, no, that is correct. Of course, I care for Israel's security. I live in Israel, so of course I care for that. But I think our government has failed to keep us secure on October 7th. And now we have alive hostages. There are people that are alive right now as we speak in Gaza, held by Hamas. We need to do everything that we can to bring them home as soon as possible. With Hamas, we will be able to deal with later. I don't know about what the deal actually entails and what is described in it and what are the actual agreements. Of course, that making a deal with those terrorists is just another atrocity that they commit, that we have to agree to some sort of conditions to release civilians, of course. But the fact is that we've been dealing with Hamas for so many years now, and every time there's a ceasefire agreement, there's something that happens that stops the war, and we come back to the war anyway. So I don't feel like this is going to be different now, but I know that now there are hostages that are alive and still can be saved. Listen to the words of the released hostages that spoke yesterday. They are still can be saved. They are alive now. We don't know if they're going to be alive tomorrow. We can deal with Hamas later. Hamas isn't going to disappear suddenly. Everyone almost in Gaza is Hamas. The released hostages say it. And the Prime Minister has been the Prime Minister for the past 15 years, and he's been promising to dismantle and to demolish Hamas for 15 years. Why should I believe him now? I cannot believe him now. I cannot trust him. He has left my family to die and to be kidnapped on October 7th. And now he is responsible and he needs to bring them home as soon as possible. It's his responsibility.
Itay, we're looking at video of your grandfather, Abraham Munder, 78 years old. Is there any indication, have you received any indication whatsoever on his condition?
So first of all, it's my great uncle. It's my
great uncle. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Your great uncle. It was your grandfather's brother.
Right. So we, again, if you remember, his condition is not great. He has a balance issue. We even know that during the time of the attack, he fell down to the ground. We know it from Keren Munder and Ohad, who came back. They thought he had been murdered. We know he fell down to the ground. He doesn't see very well. You can see it in his photos. He has balance issues. He needs to take medications daily. The last thing we know about him is from the released hostages from over 2 months ago that they were released, that he was alive on the day of their release. But it's been over 2 months now. Right. He's 79. He's not healthy. I don't know if he's maybe one of the ones that have been reported to be dead. One of the extra 30 hostages. I know he was alive. This is again my point. I know he was alive in captivity 2 months ago. I don't know what's his situation right now. And I know that if there's a chance that he is still alive, we need to do everything to bring him home as soon as possible. He cannot be left alone again, like he was left alone without army on October 7th. This is a man who was a pioneer. He established a kibbutz, a great Zionist. He fought in the army in the Six-Day War. He's given so much to this country. And now this country is leaving him to die in the tunnels by those murderers. We cannot let this happen.
Itay, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us about your great uncle. And we hope that you get that phone call that he's on his way home soon.
Thank you very much.
Itay Raviv, thanks so much for joining us again.